who are we? Right? Who is this audience or this community out there in the world? It's people who, in our case, actually want to live in an America where people can recognize their shared values around the American experiment, around life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, around the core values of a democratic society. And this orients everything.
So if I could be, you can tell me if I'm being unfair, but the way I would look at it is if you look at kind of the horseshoe theory of politics, where the people in the far left and the far right often have a lot more in common with each other than people who are in the center left or center right, for example.
The more I learn about it, the more complicated it gets. I might have actually thought, yeah, that's it, a year ago or 18 months ago. But the more you learn about it, the more complex it gets. How? Well, just to go back to your observation for a moment, a lot of people on the far right and the far left do share or can share a lot in common in their, style of politics, in their rejection of liberal democracy and all of its unsatisfying compromises. The illusion of conflict entrepreneurialism is that you have, half the country is your enemy, them, they. You hear this all the time. You hear on the left about these fascists, right? They're all fascists. Not even that the President of the United States is a fascist. I'm not calling the President of the United States fascist. I actually don't think that's right. But what I'm saying is that it's definitely not right that half the country are fascists.
And then the other half are communist, yeah.
The other half are communists, absolute communists. So, yeah, this is poison for us. So to get beyond that, you have to, not posture your way into neutrality, but be very clear about what what the constitutive values that we all actually live with, regardless of how much we hate one another, and then how we build from there, and more focus on how we can support each other in understanding what we're all going through together. This is so much of what we're going through right now, we're going through together. Our job is not to convince people of any political agenda. Our job is to represent our constitutive values in a faithful manner, and then to get to work. And that is to ask questions and to run things down and to understand what's going on. Our job is to enable, not tell people what to think, but to enable them to think. The job of the Signal is to enable people to think for themselves. The only thing worth doing in the end anyway, right? This is not to say that there's no role for persuasion, for argument, and so on. There is. It's important. But in day-to-day life, what's more important is thinking through a complex world, thinking through rapid change, getting your bearings, being oriented, and thinking for yourself. In that sense, Justin, right, I would view us, there's a radical quality to that, which is it's radically democratic in a sense. The Signal fundamentally, I would say, rejects the idea that the world needs interpretive authorities to tell them what to think about everything. The antithesis of the Signal is in that respect the pundit, not the expert on a subject matter such as social mobility or nuclear fusion or anything else.
If you look at any polling, trust in media is at an all-time low, at least as far as polling data goes back to. Is there something about how media really works that would maybe make someone take a step back?
What helps me think about is actually, you can look at that question, you can kind of take some of the premises apart in the question about media, trust in media is collapsing. It's really, as you point out, it's pretty amazing. And why is that? So what's media doing wrong that, is resulting in this collapse in trust? It may be that people are doing something. People are doing something that people are different, right? A lot of those people are living in the world in a way that's very different from their grandparents or their parents or even maybe them earlier in their lives. They're living in a digital environment that is much more shaped by division, by mistrust, right? So it's a very complicated question you're asking, actually in a way that I can see it differently than I probably have looked at it before, just how complicated that is. But I think you can go to some factors, and some of them are what has changed within media production, right? And some of it's what's changed within the world of media consumption. I'll just point to one big thing in each of those categories and see where that goes or what you make of it. On the production side, one of the biggest changes has been the emergence of narrative as the sort of fundamental function of journalism, right? That has come to supplant reporting. There's still plenty of reporting, and reporters are my heroes. But in a lot of media, and particularly maybe what you'd say mainstream media, the role of narrative has become, just dominant, because you can see where that's going in general. I get it.
Yeah.
Like, it makes total.
I get the principle of it, right? But you could very much see where that can
You get the
lead
principle
in
of
a
it.
different path. Yeah.
Yeah, you even get why it feels aspirational to someone, right?
Mhm.
Why this is what I can do in the world. I can make things better through the power of storytelling.
I get it. I do a Substack every week, and I am trying to tell the story of why I think this is true or not, and I'm very upfront and open about it. So I understand that,
Yeah.
persuasion
But
from
you're
it.
also asking different questions every week and kind of breaking up your own narrative. That's good. It's good to know it's time for a Substack on debunking degrowth, right? That's a project. There's nothing wrong with that. That's a good thing to have in the ecosystem. I think the problem becomes when consumers experience news sources as telling them stories rather than mediating the world to them in a way that they can trust and that's honest.